Hello. I am very loud.
Well, everybody's awake now.
I got their attention, didn't I?
Yeah, you did.
The last room we were in, I had to be right here to talk on the mic.
Those mics.
So it was quite different room. Well, thank you for coming out. Thank you for being here. Thank you for existing.
Wow.
We're going to play a little. We are the Richmond Way podcast. I am Mike.
I'm Coach Beard.
I'm not. I'm Bonnie.
We have our guest Stanford.
Hey.
And mute Ted. He's not allowed to talk.
Silent Ted.
It's his choice. But
I just said yes.
Yes. No, he's just someone we pulled in here because he looked like Ted.
Yeah.
He had no choice.
Had to have the bookends of Beard and Ted, so.
He's not even dressed up as Ted. He just looks like him. It's just a really great coincidence.
And this is his sign, too, just so we're clear.
It is our sign now.
We've confidence.
Just for the podcast.
We're going to play a little trailer for you here. It's our little about us, give you some more information.
Yeah.
Howdy, folks. This is Ted Lasso, your favorite optimistic American football coach turned English football coach. And welcome to the Richmond Way, a Ted Lasso rewatch podcast. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why in the world is Ted doing a podcast about his own show? Well, let me tell you, friends. It's because I believe in spreading positivity, joy, and the power of a good old rewatch. Now, each show, we're going to dive back into the heartwarming world of AFC Richmond, revisit every single episode of this incredible series. From the moment I set foot on that English pitch to the glorious triumphs and the occasional setbacks, we'll be reliving it all. Now, this podcast isn't just about my friends Bonnie, Mike, and Marc rambling on and on. Oh, no. We want to hear from all of you. We want your thoughts, your feelings, your favorite moments. This is a team effort, my friends. So whether you're a die-hard football fan, a newcomer to the show, or just somebody looking for a good old-fashioned laugh, we got a spot for you on the Richmond Way. So grab your biscuits, put on your AFC Richmond scarf, and let's embark on this journey together. Because remember, folks, there's always something to be learned, something to be shared, and, well, something to smile about. And here at the Richmond Way Ted Lasso Rewatch Podcast, I believe we're going to find it. So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.
Wasn't that great of Jason Sudeikis to do that for us?
So nice.
It actually
cost him
wasn't
in the bathroom
Jason.
or anything.
No, that's actually one of my favorite voice actors, my friend Joe Gaudette.
Yeah.
Incredible, yeah, incredible. People thought it was either Jason or it was AI, but we don't use AI voiceover here. Thank you.
Well,
AI, this is the
Well, you
AI
don't.
free zone.
well, you don't.
Well, I don't. That's my job, dude.
Yeah, Joe does a great job in that. Like every time I even listen to him, and I know that it's him, I still think it might
Yeah, Joe is that good. That's
Yeah.
why he's one of my favorite voice actors. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, and to even go with the theme of this panel too is the Ted Lasso and mental health. Is that when Joe sent it to us, he thought it sounded like crap.
When
And-
Joe sent that in, he's like, "That sounds like dog shit. I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. Sorry to any little ears out here."
And then we were like, we didn't
We're
pay
like, what are
you.
you talking
so-
about?
We're like, "Dude, that was amazing."
Yeah.
You thought that sounded bad, but
Yeah.
again, we are sometimes our own harshest critics. So,
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that. Shout out to Joe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Way to go, Joe.
Go Joe.
It's like,
So
was
mental
I-
health and Ted Lasso.
Yeah.
We're here to talk about today, correct? That's what we signed up for?
Correct.
I don't know. I just kind of got off a plane, walked in a room. You threw a shirt on me. Somehow I was in the video. I don't know what's going on.
It was a very elaborate plan.
I guess we can go down the line and how we discovered the show and what we like about it and how it helps us. We'll start with Mr. Marc here and go.
That's Coach Beard.
No, Mr. Marc here. We're gonna,
Mr. Marc. What am I, a kindergarten teacher?
Mr. Mark.
Master Marc.
All right. I got to think, Marc, think. Anyways, yeah, for the first season of it, my wife and my son and I watched it together when it came out around then, and or actually I don't even remember if it was like right when it wasn't right when it came out, but it was like within that period of like 2020, after all of season 1 had aired, and watched that through, and then there's a space in between season 1 and 2 of waiting for it, trying to like satiate the Ted Lasso like appetite. So I found the original like NBC original shorts. I just said original a lot. It's going to be semantic satiation, just like Ted. But and we've talked about this when we started doing the rewatch for it, is like with those NBC shorts to the Ted that we have on like the actual series, we're all glad that it's the Ted that's actually on the show rather than more the season 1-esque Michael Scott version of Ted that's in those like NBC shorts.
He was not nice.
Yeah, like he was funny in them, but I'm definitely glad that Jason Sudeikis chose to move over to like what we ended up seeing him with. But like between that first season, like we got the 10 episodes there, and then like the second and third season, and we've talked about it a bit on the show too, but just the mix of how it can be like heightened comedy, like really funny, like one-liners that like you're still laughing at one thing, and they've already said 2 other things that are funny too, that are also quote-worthy, that with like we have a quote section on the podcast that's usually like almost like the entire episode of our favorite quotes, because it's just like the entire episode was really well written. Say that 5 times fast. But like as the show like went on between like even by the time it gets to like tan lines and that, like you can kind of see like it's starting to try to touch on a little bit of like deeper topics with that, and it's kind of sprinkled throughout, and you notice it as you get to later seasons, like Ted's like panic and anxiety that he's dealing with, like even up to like the first episode, we were noticing like there's audio cues that they play even in the pilot with that. So that, long story short, that's why I've liked it, just because of both how the show tackles its way of like approaching mental health, like sharing kindness with one another, like being curious, not judgmental, like don't just judge somebody based on like a first appearance with whatever you may get from that first time you meet them, because that may just be like Roy would say later on, no one knows what anyone is going through in each of their life. So just always treat each person that you meet with that kindness. And I'm going to hand it off before
Bonnie goes. I don't think I introduced Stanford. Did I?
You did.
Okay.
Yes.
I couldn't
Hi.
remember. Sorry, I didn't want to leave you out, and I was blanking if I
No,
said
you're
something.
good, man. Thank you.
Okay, Bonnie.
Okay. I came into the show very late, as in like last January, and I had friends telling me about it when it aired. You were one of them. And I was like, yeah. But if you know me, I am always chronically behind on watching TV, and it's really, if it's a new show, there's a 99% chance I haven't seen it. It's really bad. And so a couple of years ago, I had begun going through a divorce process, and one of my friends was like, you have to watch this show. And I'm like, with what time? I'll get around to it. And so then I went to visit her in Seattle, and she sat me on her couch and said, now you can't go anywhere, and you have to watch it with me. And I went, all right, fine. And so I'm sitting there watching it. I'm like, this is cool. And she's staring at me like this. Like waiting for me to laugh, waiting for me to go, oh, I love it, and whatever. And then we ended up watching a few episodes that night, and I went, oh, crap, okay, I like the show now, okay. And she's like, go home. When you get back to LA, keep watching it. And I said, okay, and then I did. And I really enjoyed it, but I was kind of half watching it. I was sitting there working on my laptop, so I missed a few things. I was like, oh, it was good, I liked it. And when these guys approached me about doing the show, it's like, oh, I actually have to sit and watch it and be present and actually take it in. And so on this rewatch, this is only my second time going through the series on the show. So a lot of it is very new for me, even though I've seen it. I'm like, oh, I missed that line. I missed that part because I was probably typing something. So it's really cool to rewatch it. And I like these guys enough to be on the show with them. So It's been pretty good so far.
I'll Venmo you later.
Thank you. That will be $550. Thank you.
How about you, Mike?
I got into the show because of this guy.
Yeah.
Relentlessly sending me memes, relentlessly sending me images and saying, have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet? And then I do another podcast with him called The Holdo Maneuver. We talk about Star Wars. All of a sudden, we're bringing on Ted Lasso guests to talk about Star Wars. I'm like,
I backdoor piloted it.
and they'll go off on tangents about Ted Lasso, and I'm like, I got nothing. I got nothing. Then all of a sudden, we're doing this podcast episode where we have about 38 people across different Zoom, Teams, StreamYard. We're just everywhere trying to record this episode. So I was like, I better watch it because this is going to be.
Oh, I was on that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was your first episode. So I watched it, then I rewatched it, and I keep rewatching it. Just because it's a different show. It's like, it's different than what we get on normal, like what we're used to coming to us on the TV. Like, you can watch a sitcom, you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3, joke, 1, 2, 3, this is gonna happen. And then, oh, they're in this situation, that's gonna happen. And this didn't go that route. So it was refreshing, and then it also wasn't, it just wasn't something I'm used to because of how it did just like, okay, these people address that they have mental health problems. At first I was like, oh, it's a show about soccer. Great. Can't wait. But it wasn't, like, they don't even talk, like, they barely show them playing soccer, football, whatever you want to call it. So it was an enlightening experience for watching something for me. And because of my own mental health things, I rewatch it a lot because it's a comfort thing now. So,
Yeah.
how about Stanford, our guest?
So, similar to you, Bonnie, a trusted friend that I think has really good taste in TV shows, after the first season, she just was relentless, and she's like, "You've got to watch the show." And I know, right? And so I finally gave in, and then it was just truly must-see TV for me. You know, I watched the next 2 seasons. You know, the day that they were released. I can't remember a show that made me laugh and cry as much. You know, we all can relate to that. And I think it's such an honest and charitable portrayal of challenges that we all face in life, you know, and in adulthood. So I love the show.
I forgot to say on like a somewhat lighthearted thing is that one of the things that got me into it too is someone sent me a clip from the show because they knew I was a big Back to the Future fan. And it's the scene of Coach Beard going, "Ronald Reagan, the actor?" It was like, you always get me when you do your Doc Brown. I was like, all right, I'll watch the show. It references Back to the Future, so that's why I watched.
Ted, have you watched the show?
Yes, yep.
You weren't supposed to talk.
You didn't say Simon Says.
Yeah, that's right.
How about all y'all? Anyone want to share how they got into the show? You can come on down. I'll put you on the microphone. You can come stand up here if you want.
We're
Yeah.
recording. Yeah.
This is about all of us.
Hi, everyone. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Before I answer that, I would like to ask you guys a question. Sure. I'll tell you guys mine,
Right.
and then once I tell you guys when I watched it, I'll go back to let you guys answer the question.
Ooh.
All right, no problem. All right, my question for you guys, and I guess also for the audience, who do you think had the most emotional growth out of Jamie Tart or Rory Kent? All right, so I'll give you guys that, and then I'll let you guys know when I start watching the show. Very similar to Bonnie, is that correct?
Yes.
One of my best friends, his name is Tim, and he knows that we have like the same parallels of this humor and all this other stuff. I also went through a divorce a couple years ago, and I went to go visit my friend Tim, and he knows if he tells me to watch a show, I'll be scatterbrained. My ADD brain is all like, whatever. So I visited him in California. We were in a cabin in Tahoe, and we were just chilling with our dogs. He showed me a couple shows, and he's all like, all right, now we're gonna watch Ted Lasso. And I was all like, all right, fine, I can't go anywhere. And I started watching it, and I started giggling. I was like, all right, this is pretty solid. The second episode, it was like, ha, ha, ha. So the third episode stops, and I'm all like, why hasn't it started? He's like, you want to watch the third one? I'm like, yeah, sure, let's go for the third one. So the first couple days we were there, I probably got through probably good 8 episodes. I think we stopped at the darts episode, which is phenomenal. And I was hooked. So when I came back to Arizona, I started rewatching it on a pirated thing. Actually, I was able to get Apple Plus, the TV subscription, finally last week because they're on some weird shenanigans to actually sign up for them. But now I just rewatch it. I rewatched it with some of my other friends. I probably got a lot of my friends onto this TV show, and I pretty much forced my friends to watch it. I'm like, hey, get this. So I got Apple TV. I go to my friend's house, and I have my subscription on their TV, so now they're watching it, and I check in with them.
Nice.
So that's how I got onto it, long story short. But my question to you guys, who would like to answer first, who do you think had the best and more growth out of Roy Kent and Ted Lasso? Or Roy Kent or Jamie Tart? There's no wrong answer, I promise you. I love them both.
That's what they say.
It's a hard question. I'll dive in because I think that's a great question. Thank you.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it's tricky. I mean, to choose, right?
Yes.
I mean, my initial impression is Jamie Tart.
Okay.
I think partly because he had to deal with that abusive father
Yes.
situation. And I mean, don't get me wrong. Everybody was going through stuff, right, in the show. But that one, not that I could relate to it personally, but I thought that he really had to overcome something, in that regard. So anyway, that's probably who I picked. But they almost like flip a coin, because they both have such interesting character arcs.
That's is it? It's my turn.
Remember?
Oh,
I don't have
okay.
a microphone.
Oh, would you like to? I'm sorry. I took
You're,
your.
I'm making an excuse not to go.
Okay, well, all right. Okay, so I think my first watch through, I want to say Roy, but I am leaving that open to change my answer after this next watch through on the series. So, if you listen along, you'll find out at the end of the run, whenever that comes.
You're still in hate Jamie Tart mode.
I am still in I
okay.
hate Jamie Tart mode for sure.
May
I still don't
ask
like
what
him
are the
right
big
now.
things that you would say why Roy Kent? What do you see?
Because
that
we're
you
seeing
really
him become a little bit of a softie.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that's hard. Because like season 1 or the first watch through, I was like, okay, Roy is fine. Like he's all right, whatever. I know, I'm sorry. Look, I was very distracted the first 2 seasons when I was watching it, and then I watched Jack. Calm down. But then this time around, this rewatch, I'm like, oh no, I love Roy now. Like it's just because I'm actually having to sit and be present, and there's a lot of things I missed. So I'm gonna say, based on my first watch through and where we are at in season 1, as of right now, I will reserve that for Roy. However, maybe by the end of like this rewatch and we get through a lot of Jamie stuff in season 3, I might change that.
Okay.
That's my answer.
All right. Coach Beard?
So I'm not going to say who yet, but with with Roy and Jamie, they kind of have similar paths. They just go on them at a kind of
stage?
different like speed.
Okay.
Whereas like we're almost at the end of season 1 right now with the rewatch, and a lot of our notes like up until Jamie is sent back to Man City is like, or actually not that one, but with until like the entire team bonds with burning stuff is like the notes are like, oh, Jamie sucks. Jamie sucks. Why
It's
does
usually
Jamie
me
suck
writing
so
that.
much?
Jamie sucks really bad.
But then like even doing the rewatch now, you have it in the back of your mind, like, oh, and like when he's noticing certain things, like how he's nice to Henry when he's coming in because he sees the father-son relationship between Ted and Henry there. So, and you can see how that slightly, how he's watching that, or like if he hears somebody else like Sam talking about his dad or something like that, you can see how he kind of reacts to that. Or
Those are triggering.
and you can see how like it triggers him, and like even within the episode where it kind of starts to finally break that like crust on him too. You can hear him talking about, or is like, I was so worried about like making him like try to impress him or like just like piss him off by trying to do really well that I forgot to try to do well to make her proud. Talking about his mom.
Yeah.
but then like Roy is going on his own path too. Like you even have like stuff like up to like the Diamond Dogs episode. Yeah.
What was that? Come here, Roy. Here. Roy, do you want to come over here?
He's like, no, this is my nightmare. But yeah, like how Roy is like very detached with like dealing with any of his emotions, like even up to like spoiler alert, even until pretty much like the last episode of season 3, you see him finally going into therapy to talking with Sharon again. So, whereas by that point, Jamie is like, he's not, because no one's ever like fully healed, but like you can see like how he's already like surpassed like that point, and like where like Roy kind of regresses a little bit because none of that path, or sorry, I keep popping the mic, I should know better. But like with like, just because like progress isn't like a linear line for like mental health too, so you can have 2 steps forward, 1 step back, but when you get together, opposite. No, sorry, wrong thing. Yeah, I think overall, I think within the series itself, from where we see like the story end, and end in quotes because we don't know if we'll see any more of it, but where it ends within this, by the end of the 3rd season of Ted Lasso, the show, is I think by that point, Jamie has made more progress, because even if his dad might not necessarily deserve it within the show, he's like attempting to give his dad a second chance, even though his dad there's definitely arguments against why he shouldn't deserve a second or third or fourth chance because of like all the stuff we see his dad do to him during the show, or how he's already mentally affected him.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's my answer. By the end of the show, I think that Jamie has made the most kind of progress, whereas Roy is trying to do the work to get to a place where he can be healthy and maybe eventually end back up with Keely, because they're both healthy at that point.
Okay.
So that's my long-winded answer.
No, I love it. And Simon says, Ted Lasso, answer the question.
Oh.
He's like, I hate sitting.
He didn't think that he'd get pulled into this.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say Roy Kent.
Roy Kidd. Okay. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much. My answer would probably be a small edge towards Roy Kent as well. I feel like maybe he started off with a bigger progress, but he did go further in different ways, like even the relationship issues where he started learning stuff. And I would say a really big victory, even though a really big victory for both Roy and Jamie, whereas when Jamie punched his dad, and that was that was like, hey, I'm standing up to you. And he was really confused. And Roy was the one who walked up to him and embraced him.
Yeah.
One of my favorite scenes. So, yes. Thank you, guys. And
Thank you.
Thank
would you
you.
like to answer? Yeah, you can answer the question.
Oh, are we doing the audience stuff?
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
He had a question.
Oh,
Good.
go ahead.
I didn't know if you guys wanted me to.
My answer would be, right now, Jamie, I think, grew the most because of Roy. He had Roy as a mentor, who still needs to grow, but he was able to put his flaws aside and tell Jamie how to get there faster.
Yeah, that was.
There you go. And like Higgins said, a mentor or wants their mentee to not just pass them, but do better than them.
Come on down.
And everyone's got to do it. I was going to say, also stick around too, because we do have some giveaways that we're going to do some trivia with. So there's these 3 things. These 2 are mysteries, but this is also.
They're good mysteries, though, not
They
scary
are
ones.
outstanding.
Not like scary Scooby-Doo mysteries.
Hi everybody, I'm Jack.
Hi, Jack. It's one of my friends from LA.
Yeah, Bonnie is one of my best friends, so I guess I'm a ringer. Sorry. So yeah, she was telling the truth as far as I started pestering her pretty heavily because we lived right across the street from each other. And I was like, have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet? Have you watched it yet?
Like, I dressed up as Ted. Have you watched it yet? Like, I did this for Halloween. Have you watched
We're
it yet?
getting there, yes.
Yeah.
So I started it after season 1 had finished up during the pandemic. I worked from home. Days bled into weeks, which bled into months, and I was going crazy, and somebody was like, oh, hey, you should watch that fun show about English football. Jason Sudeikis is in that. You like him. And so I was like, yeah, I do. And I started it, and it was so much more than I thought it would be. A lot of the talk about mental health and things of those natures. the stuff with Jamie and the stuff with Ted hit me really hard because, fun story, my ex is the one who had recommended I watch Ted Lasso, so that was a interesting way to come to it. And also, my dad sucks, so there was a lot of that going on. It ended up pulling a lot from that in a very, very deep well. And to your point, I cannot remember a show where I've laughed so hard and then cried so hard in like the same 10 minutes, and it happened probably about 10 different times throughout the course of the series. Oh yeah, it's bad. It was really bad. So, but yeah, I have watched it through 3 times so far. I'm overjoyed to especially listen to you rewatch it now and to pay attention, goddammit. No, thank you so much. My question, it's almost a bit of a rant. I have been so annoyed at the vocal minority of people who honestly had deluded themselves into thinking that Ted and Rebecca would be a thing by the end of the series. I think it's dumb. I think they watched it thinking they were watching Cheers 40 years ago. I don't understand it. What are your feelings on this? Who starts? Can't say it out loud.
Oh boy, you guys have it in the notes in the episode.
Okay.
I want to know. It drives me nuts.
Excellent question.
I'm not going first.
To answer that question, I'll share a story.
Oh, yeah, the first text you sent me about it.
I'm watching the show, and it's a legitimate thing. I don't know if I can find the picture. It might be gone.
It's in one of the rewatches.
I literally get in, I don't know how many episodes. I haven't said a word to him that I'm watching it. So I'm just like, you know that show you've been trying to make me watch? He's like, yeah. Well, when are Ted and Rebecca gonna bang? No. First lines out of my mouth.
I was like, oh, okay, so I started watching.
But, am I upset they didn't get together? Minuscule. Like, the show's so good, it doesn't matter if they got together or not.
Yeah, not mad about it.
I mean, they definitely knew the audience wanted that, and they filmed it and showed it and wrote it in a way. You might say no, but there's a large portion that say yes. But they knew, like, they would think that. They knew that it's something they could play with in their storytelling. So that's why it's a thing, a concept out there that they should get together, because that's old school TV writing. Cheers, as you mentioned.
Starring Jason's uncle, George Wendt.
So they definitely played it up in the way they edited it together, wrote it, and all that stuff. But did it need it? No.
Oh, I didn't realize that was out loud. Sorry, I work from home and I talk a lot to myself, and I don't think I realize that sometimes these noises become outside noises and thoughts.
That happens as you get older. Outside noises you don't know we're in.
Yeah, I'm embracing that. As 40 creeps upon me, I'm embracing that. I'm just gonna, okay, I guess I'm talking.
You're up.
I'm up. Thanks. Simon says I'm up.
I pleaded the...
I don't see it with them, and I don't like it. I don't think it needs Ted Becca. I don't think it needs to be a thing. I don't think they're trying to make it a thing. I think maybe some people want it to be a thing because Cheers or, The X-Files did it eventually. Sorry, spoiler alert. Some people still haven't seen it. But I don't think it...
Pointing at him and saying that, it doesn't mean anything when he's told us what you made him watch recently. He's like, I haven't watched Ghostbusters, I haven't watched this,
that's fair. We're working on it. There's a big back catalog. But I don't think it needs to be a thing with them, and it doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't make sense to me. So I don't see it. Maybe if they are trying to make that a thing, it's not picking up with me. I'm not picking up what they're putting down. I'm not seeing it. I don't think Ted Becca needs to be a thing ever. I think they're better off as friends. Yeah, I think they are far, far better off as friends, and I don't think I would have liked it if they got together, and if it was like a one night oops, and then they're like, oh no, now it's awkward, what do we do? Like, I think that would have just kind of ruined
Oh, I
it.
agree.
Which is what the season 3 finale makes you allude to thinking at the beginning of that.
Yeah, and I was relieved when that was not what happened. I was like, oh, thank God, okay.
You've never been happier to see Coach Beard's butt.
Well, that too, but.
No.
But
No. No.
that's my thoughts on Ted Becca.
Mine. Okay.
Yeah, you're up now. Simon says.
Thank you for the excellent comment and a really good question.
That's great.
Yeah. And for getting Bonnie to watch it. Anyway, thanks.
Jack and my friend Jen. Yeah, you were the two, the J team.
Encourage you to watch it. I didn't think that they really belonged together. I thought that I kind of liked I don't know if you call it, was it flirtation? It wasn't really. I mean, it was just like possible chemistry, but they both were like way on the rebound, right? And available, but it just seemed like they had a better like friendship and a coworker relationship. I mean, she was his boss, right? And
That didn't do anything for her and Sam.
but yeah,
I loved that, however.
that's yeah. Well, and you know, I know I'm of a certain age, but I don't know if anybody will remember the show Moonlighting.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that show was so much more interesting when there was, you know, when they hooked up finally, the show just like, just really went downhill. And not that Ted and Rebecca had that kind of chemistry or, fireworks going on, but that's not always like the right decision, I don't think, to make, but from a storytelling standpoint and also just from like a character arc,
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm not upset at all that it didn't happen.
Ted, shake your head yes or no if you like Ted Becca. I'll retract my and just say quickly is that the first time around I didn't think that until Carol of the Bells in season 2, where like I could kind of start seeing that, and then it felt like a little bit more peppered in like later on from that, but now kind of more during this rewatch I'm not like, granted we're only in season 1 still, but I do definitely see it more as just a friendship. And Jason Sudeikis, I think in like one interview, had said they're soulmates, but you can be a soulmate with somebody and not like be, like a romantic soulmate with somebody. So like they could like, so just because they're like kind of like on like, some of you said like on these like parallel lines where like she's been divorced for like about a year, he's freshly going through it, and they're kind of each other's like bounce off boards to be able to help one another and be able to help themselves because of that, because they've had like similar life experiences to be able to, like Coach Beard's considered to be Ted's best friend, but I would almost say that maybe Rebecca is maybe almost like equally his best friend by the end of the show, and that's why by the end of it, like also just like where like she's more emotional about it, but Ted's like more reserved, but that's also because he's made more kind of his own mental health progress by that point, where he's always so emotional and kind of trying to deflect and everything. By that point, he's been able to process stuff enough where he doesn't have to, deflect with some kind of funny joke to Rebecca about like saying something like why he's leaving or something like that. He's just says very little words about it. He's like comfortable and clear in his choice, and not like he might be somewhat second guessing some stuff, but isn't going to outwardly express that in any kind of way for it. And I think this would be a good spot to do a first trivia thing.
Oh wait, no, but I was going to say, just because you Rebecca can doesn't mean you Rebecca should. Thank you, I just wanted to say that.
Yes. Well, and just one final comment too. I feel like that they saved each other, and it was And just because you save each other doesn't mean that you have to be romantic. You know, that it was, you know, just this really wonderful friendship and relationship. So.
A trauma bond.
Yeah, yeah, that's a way to put it.
So he was hurt, and then she got him, and then she was hurt, and then he got her. And like it's either father, I'm here for you, you're here for me, I'm for you.
Yeah. Well said. Thank you.
Lots of trauma on that show, but we love it, don't we?
That's why we love it. We laugh and we cry.
There's so much
And
trauma.
relate, you know,
and we
in our
keep
own
watching it, and we're rewatching it for fun and to talk about it.
Yeah.
It is giveaway time.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. Trivia question. It's going to be this one that it's a secret.
What's
AFC Richmond has a mascot, does it not? What is its name? You the first.
All right.
Down.
Coming.
Nice
So
work.
when you open this, I'll explain what it is too, in case you're not sure. Yeah, if you
Up
want.
to you. Well,
I mean,
well.
just like Charlie Brown would say. Yeah. So that's from our friend Alice. She's been on one of the rewatch episodes. She does an account called Ted Lasso Rocks, and she finds a bunch of rocks, like a ton, and paints the Believe rocks on, or paints the Believe sign on them. I think she's got a sticker like on the other side of the rock, but she just does that to basically do the Lasso way, the Richmond way, of like spreading the kindness and stuff that Ted would. She's given a bunch of them to the cast and crew of the show too. So, and we each have one. And then if you follow her too, like she has a weekly giveaway where you can enter a contest to get one of those too.
I have one in my recording studio. It's very fun.
So that's the backstory on Ted Lasso Rocks.
Woo!
Thank you.
You're welcome.
More trivia or discussion?
More mental health.
More mental health discussions.
I guess, what is your, going down the line, we'll start with Stanford this way. Favorite, like, mental health subject that they tackle in the show?
Ooh, there's a lot of good ones.
Which one do you think they did the best, I should say?
Oh, wow. Well, I guess a couple things. I thought the way that they dealt with Ted's anxiety was really meaningful, and you know, brilliantly written and brilliantly acted. I think. I mean, just the whole thing, right? The editing and everything of that is just so good, and that really helped. You know, I guess for me to see into kind of the mind and soul of someone who's suffering from that. It was very eye-opening and very helpful. But I also got to tell you, you know, you touched about it briefly in your intro, but you know, the dart game where he quotes Walt Whitman talking about, you know, be curious and not judgmental. I frankly think that's a really important part of mental health. In the way that you view the world and you view other people, and so that was great. And then I always ask somebody, you know, what their experience with darts, how, right? He really should have asked Ted, you know. But anyway, those are probably the two things for me.
Oh yeah, that's down this way. Okay.
Jump in and come back.
No, it's fine.
This can be the house of pain.
No, it's fine. I'm going to also say Ted's anxiety, and if you've ever had a panic attack, it's not fun. I remember I had never seen such a realistic portrayal of one on TV. Like this was 2022. A little over 2.5 years ago was the last time I had one, and it was very bad. I was up for a job for Pokemon, and I had a panic attack, and I was not treated with as much kindness as Ted was in that moment. And I didn't really think about it after a while, and then when I saw that episode, when he had it, and it was like, that's how it feels. And it was so profound to see that on TV, and they didn't shy away from it. They didn't try to make us as the audience feel more comfortable with what was going on. They were like, no, this is, and if you had never had one before, I think that it is the closest portrayal I've ever seen. It wasn't just the sights, it was the sounds. And it was just absolutely incredible to see that. And it's like, oh, and it took me back to feeling like when I had that one. And I think that was so powerful and so important. And now that, you know, people are now beginning to talk about mental health. This was not something like my parents' generation didn't talk about it. It was, you know, just get over it. Get over it, go outside, go do something. Like, you're fine. Like, no, I think something might be wrong with me. Like, no, you're fine. Just didn't talk about it, you know? And we're talking about this. This is fine. I'm pretty open about it. And it was really the person that inspired me to begin talking about it more was Carrie Fisher. One of my favorite people of all time. And she just said, you know, if I don't talk about it, if my life wasn't funny, it would just be true, and that is unacceptable. And she began sharing more of those things. And I think that was so powerful. And the more people have been talking about it, like this show openly talks about it, and they give you a space to see that, wow, this character went through this. I'm not alone. And I think that's so important with art, is to see our stories reflected and to go like, wow, somebody else went through this. And it's comforting. Even though they're going through something terrible, it's comforting for us to go like, wow, somebody else knows how I feel, and I'm seeing it right now. So yeah, I think this is one of the best things about this show, was how they talked about mental health and people's struggles, and they were not shy about it. They didn't sugarcoat it, but it was just beautifully done. It was all the terrible things and the beautiful things. So that's my story on that one.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, like I think with mine, like a lot of that stuff would be like the same as like Stanford or Bonnie, with like either like dealing with anxiety or like deflecting things to try to like do comedy to be like, I feel attacked right now.
Humor as a defense mechanism? No.
The people I'm friends with in this room are similar to it, and that's why we're friends, because everyone that deflects using comedy to deal with like trauma and stuff. I'm sorry. I'm not even like talking like one of the things in the show too is that I like a lot of the times Ted will have the big speech, and I said this recently too, is that like Ted will have like the big speech where it'll be like this like kind of all-encompassing thing where like Higgins will have like a smaller thing that just shows like kind of like how like healthy he is, like with different things, just like whether like they're talking about when he's talking to Roy about like everyone is making progress. As long as you attempt to get better, that's one more step towards, like, no one's perfect, that's one more step towards being better. But one of the like ones that Ted had in season 3 was, I'm gonna try to read it, but so belief doesn't just happen because you hang something up on the wall. It comes from in here, up here, and down here. It's pointing to my gut, by the way, I'm not pointing to something else. Only problem is we get so much junk floating around through us, and a lot of the time we end up getting in our own way. Crap like envy or fear, shame. I don't want to mess around with that shit anymore. Sorry for young ears if there's any. You know what I mean? Do you know me either? Hell no. You know what? I want to mess around with the belief that I matter, regardless of what I do or don't achieve. Or the belief that we all deserve to be loved, whether we've been hurt or maybe we've hurt somebody else. Or what about the belief of hope? That's what I want to mess with, that I can get better, that we can get better. To believe in yourself, to believe in one another, man, that's fundamental to being alive, if you can do that. And if each of you can truly do that, can't nobody rip that apart. And I think part of that still gets me too, is because I didn't want to bring this up. No, I'm sorry. Last year when season 3 aired, before it ended, my dad passed away like the 3rd or 4th episode into it, and it was a show that I had gotten them to watch, like my mom and my dad. And I think like the episode where Sam's dad like comes is like, and it was like a week or 2 weeks after that happened. I was like, what the fuck? Like, why? What is with but and just because like the show already deals with like a lot of that stuff, like the spectrum of like Sam's dad being like up here, and then you got Jamie's dad like below sea level on the other side. But I don't know, just I like how that third season of it too really hangs on Ted too. Like the other 2 seasons have done that, but like really shows like him dealing with all of that, and I just appreciated. That's one of the things I appreciated most about the show, of like trying to convey that, and that's what I liked about it.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I suppose I have to go now.
Yeah. Sorry
Simon says.
to make you follow.
Yeah.
me.
All good. Which kind of leads into what mine is. I agree with what everyone has said, but the way they show having stable friendships and people who care and will help you build you up and help you realize things instead of just being superficial. What can you do for me? Or what have you done for me last? You got the Diamond Dogs, that whole thing, like having, like, you don't see male friendships like that portrayed at all. I mean, then you have Rebecca and Keeley having that relationship. So it's just, having that portrayal is something you don't see very often on TV shows. And it was nice and refreshing.
Even if your family life kind of sucks, you can still have really great friendships.
Yeah.
And sometimes your friends can be your chosen families, and they can be your soulmates. It doesn't have to be romantic. Your friends are. There's a lot of, it's great. Exactly what you said.
To lift 2 quotes from not Ted Lasso, but from X-Men 97, just because they were really good, was Logan says, "Grief is a lonely war," and then Nightcrawler had said, "Blood is blood, family is chosen." So, but I mean, those themes kind of go with Ted Lasso too. So,
Absolutely.
I think this is a good spot to do more trivia. To
You want to break from talk, is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I'm deflecting right now.
Deflecting.
Yes.
I didn't know if you wanted me to open it up. Okay.
Well, yeah. After this, then we can open up if anybody else would like to share
The
what
next
they like.
mystery gift, wrapped in the star paper.
Want to light it? Okay.
In episode 7 of season 1, AFC Richmond managed to beat their rival for the first time in 60 years. Who was that rival?
If you've been listening to the podcast, you should know.
Ooh, there's a hand.
No.
Oh. I saw it.
No.
No.
Hand.
Was it West Ham?
No.
Whoa.
Was it Abby and Holt and, I forget, you said it sounds like a
Oh.
buffer.
No.
No.
Is it something with a river?
No.
With a river? Couldn't tell you.
Ooh.
I thought it had a river name.
Begins with an E.
If that helps narrow it down.
Is it Everton?
There you go.
Woo! Come on down. This is probably our most mouth-watering surprise mystery.
You might have to eat them with your boss.
The size of the box, kind
Well, it wasn't as heavy as a rock. so-
Double check and hide before you.
Also, don't eat the rock.
Are you actually eating that?
I don't know.
They're legitimately food.
It's
Biscuits,
it's
and they're
biscuits.
delicious.
Oh, okay.
So
That's the best testimonial for the biscuits.
Yeah.
What? Oh,
So-
that's it right there. That needs to be in the commercial. Let's record you later, and we'll do the audio file. This is a work trip for me. We'll
So
make
great.
it work.
now those are also tangentially related to Alice, who sent us the rock. She is friends with
Chai Authentic.
yeah, but I was trying to remember Harpreet from Chai Authentic .ca.
Chaiauthentic.ca.
And you can order her biscuits from her website too. But she did biscuits for the season 3 finale. So Jason has ate those very same biscuits that she made. But they're very delicious. They're amazing.
And Enjoy. They're so good. I wish I made mine last longer. I didn't.
Well, yeah, I mean, just eat them as quick as you can.
Yeah.
Eat them like
You can
Rebecca.
watch us eat them online.
Yeah.
You can.
Yeah, there's one video for him, there's a video for her, and
There's
there's a video for me.
I did share with him. He had like one. Well, you should have eaten them faster. You live with me.
Oh, okay, we'll open it up. Anyone have any comments, questions, remarks?
Yeah, or like what they liked about any of like the mental
You don't have to
health
come
or-
up here if you don't want
Yeah,
to.
you don't
I
have
think
to. You don't have to share like I did, or like Bonnie did, or like Mike did, or like Stanford did.
Or like Ted down there did. Jeez, motor mouth.
Another thing that I really love about the show, but it could leave up to people's interpretations, is I kind of like how Keely realized that she's not supposed to be. I felt like a little bit of codependency.
Yeah.
A little bit of traits that I saw with her.
Yeah.
And I like that she matured and kind of grew out of that. That being said, devil's advocate, who do you think that Keely would have been a better suit for? Jamie Tartt or Roy Kent at the very end?
Ooh.
Oh, hold on.
Mike has opinions.
Roy Kent. Yeah, Roy Kent all the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also the one that said Jamie Tartt grew the most.
Yeah, still Roy Kent.
Yeah.
I think Jamie belongs with somebody else, or maybe not anybody. You don't have to be happy by being with somebody. You can just be happy with yourself.
Bingo.
Who do you think was just a better fit for Keely at the end? Would you say everyone agreed with Roy?
Yeah, I think they should
I
like
think
each other
Roy,
better.
or just let her do her own thing for a while. I'm very much like, the girl
Rebecca.
doesn't always need a man. Like, that's okay.
What do you think? What's your? How would you answer?
Because I always love to ask my friends some really hard questions I can think, and then we have like little arguments. That's my thing.
Yeah.
I
Fit right in here.
Either way, I would have been happy. I kind of felt like Jamie Tartt did a lot of growth as well. So he felt that she would have made him happier as well. So I kind of felt like that would be good from his point of view. But I felt like Keely and Roy would have been a better couple for the longevity.
Yeah. Jamie had his chance.
I think Keely matured to the point where it was more toward Roy than it was James.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Great.
Collins, I saw you put your hand up.
Yeah, so,
Yes, I know your name.
no, but for me, and I mean, I also love the show, and there are a lot of stories that resonate with me, but one that really resonated with me was Colin's coming out story. And honestly, I've been through the very same thing, and the fact that people think Colin's is kind of weird. Something that, and the aspect that really resonated with me is, especially with the friendship between him and Isaac,
Yeah.
and him not telling Isaac. And the thing is, it's the 900% you're sure they're going to be supportive, but it's that 5% you're not sure.
That you're worried about.
You back. And then, so when Isaac finds out kind of, on accident, and then the next episode, he's close to Colin, my heart just broke. And I know that really wears on your psyche when that happens. So, and the ultimate resolution, I was I was in tears for at least a couple of hours because, having, like Michael was talking about, having those male friendships is very important. And so the fact that they were able to reconcile was, and this really, it's just really gladdening to my heart. But I love that time for Marc.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. Anybody else? Oh, sorry. I saw your hand up first, then
I saw her hand up, so we were just across the
Get it
stream.
together,
Right.
guys.
So,
Come on.
You then you.
Shouldn't have crossed the streams, Mark.
Always cross the streams.
Love the shirt.
So, first of all, thank you for doing this panel and
Thanks.
being open and vulnerable. We really appreciate it. So, kind of going off of that, like, what was kind of one scene that made you really emotional or like that got to you the most? I think I've heard a couple, but like kind of just going down the line.
Can I answer too for myself?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
This is like group therapy.
All right, so the two that really resonated with me was thank you, but fuck you.
Yeah.
His mom.
Agreed.
Really, really good. That was so
Yes.
so good because I know I have a rocky relationship with my mom.
Yeah.
And another one is when he was actually doing that sit down session with his therapist, and she did a house phone and he got to open up about his dad.
Yeah.
Those two really still gives me goosebumps just thinking about it because that emotional level, that's really nice for me to embark on, like an emotional journey. And I love when shows can actually hit those emotional bonds with me. So those are my two favorites. So, yeah.
Actually, I won't do these. I'll just say the Michelle and Ted scene and tan lines near the end of that episode. That's all I'm gonna say.
I can't pick just one. I don't know.
I have so many
I'm gonna
right
do
now.
my one for this panel. We're
I
gonna-
have so many in my
I get
head
one.
that it's hard to pick one. I mean, most recently was the Tan Lines episode. I do like the thank you, but fuck you scene because it's something that hit hard when I first watched it. I think I watched it 3 or 4 times immediately after because of how hard it hit. But so those are the ones I'll go with. Stanford, pay attention.
Oh my gosh,
He's-
no, I'm
he's
trying to
looking-
look
he's
up. I just
looking
don't
up
want to
the
mess
scenes.
up.
Googling, I'm looking.
Look, you can see, I
That's
don't
what
want
I
to
was
mess
doing.
up
That's what I was doing earlier. when we were
names.
talking.
This is a tough one. So
Yeah.
thanks for the hard question. You know, I was really moved by so many storylines, but the one with Nate.
Oh, yes.
You know, basically Ted forgave Nate, you know?
Yeah.
And that just broke me. I mean, I just was in major tears over that just because I thought it was handled in such a respectful way. And something that I think I could learn from, you know? Because Ted could have handled that in such anybody ever could have handled it in such a different way. For what a rascal, you know, or what Nate was doing. So anyway, that's the first one that comes to mind with words.
Also, nobody give Nick Muhammad crap online. Because I know there's like a vocal minority of people that give Nick Muhammad online for like hating Nate
Remember,
after
actors
season
are
2.
the actors. They
Yeah.
are not their characters. I know everybody here knows that.
Yeah.
This is for anybody that's listening that doesn't know that that's what that is.
Since we need to wrap up here, we have the last trivia question.
We have one more.
Oh, she was gonna show.
Oh,
Yes, no,
sorry.
please.
I got you.
I was just gonna talk about Nate. He was one of my favorite characters, and I don't like talking in front of people.
That's okay.
You're doing
You're
great.
doing great.
I guess just the progression from being a pushover to becoming an asshole, you know?
Yeah.
And but he kind of needed that to gain his confidence
Yeah.
in order to be the person that he needed to be. And I guess I just wanted to know what your thoughts were on his story.
Yeah, like even like I guess we'll do it quickly. But like where we are in season 1 right now, like, and knowing kind of like where that arc like goes. I don't say anything. Sorry. Like where like that arc goes to. It's interesting. Like kind of notating like phrases or like thinking about how he's reacting to certain things or like how he's trying to diminish himself. To different things, like sometimes it's meant to be funny, like in a scene where like he's coming up the stairs and he like comes in and he's like, oh, and runs back down and comes back up again, or like he gets shut under the bus or whatever. But you can see like how in the Everton episode, like where like he's not comfortable with talking in front of people, but he doesn't want to say this stuff to the team. But then once he starts doing it and he sees how they're reacting to it, it kind of feeds him. So that was part of something that we're noticing too, where like that might be feeding him kind of in the wrong way almost. But yeah, it's good that he also goes on like a really, everyone goes on a great arc. We've been noticing. It's just basically they start here like in season 1, Colin and Isaac are basically like one note kind of characters for a bunch of episodes, and then everybody slowly gets expanded and whatnot. But I don't know if anyone else wants to answer.
Yeah, I found it was heartbreaking to see him kind of go the opposite way. but then to kind of settle back, and everybody grows in different ways. But it was like, no, Nate, what are you doing? Like, I think I kept going, like, Nate, no, don't do that, don't do that, don't do that. Like, I think I said that so many times watching that. But I think, again, this is why this show and art is beautiful, because we can see parts of ourselves in these other characters and things that they go through, and it touches something within us, and we go, oh, they understand me, or wow, I went through that, or whatever. And I think we had to, and seeing how Ted forgave him, and just going like, that's good. That is good hearted right
forgave
there.
him too. How Beard forgave him too, because he was the one holding it in.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. But I think that was a great character arc for him too. And it was heartbreaking to see, but that's sometimes reality, and that was very reflective of that. So that's my thoughts on that. 'Cause
Sorry, I don't want to cut you off, Stanford, but
I know I've already said my thoughts on it, so thank you. No, it's such a good question.
I know that we need to wrap up, so if you want,
I'll pass because I'm too long-winded. I can read the question. I know the question.
The last trivia
Last
question
trivia question for that pertains to Sassy Smurf.
What? Yeah.
What is her real first name?
Collins can't answer this.
And if you know it.
Florence?
Yeah, there you go.
Go long.
And then,
I can't throw. I was in drama club. There you go.
So,
Yeah.
I think that'll probably.
That does wrap it up.
Yeah, we have buttons.
We have buttons.
stickers.
You need buttons.
So if you didn't get one yet,
Come get some swag.
you can go to richmondwaypod.com. We release new episodes of our rewatch every other Monday, so there'll be a new one this Monday, but June 3rd. No, sorry. June
following
June
Monday.
3rd is when the next episode will be out, and that'll be
It'll
Make
be out
Rebecca
when I
Great
edit
Again.
it. Let's put it that way.
But we're going to go through the entire 3 seasons, and thank you all again for coming.
Thank
Yes,
you all
thank
for being
you.
here.
Thank you, Ted, for sitting at the end of the entire
Thank
time.
you for being here, and thank you for continuing to be here. We wouldn't be here without you.
Come get some buttons.
Ted, you can talk.
RichmondWayPod.com.
It'll be on this too. It's on richmondwaypod.com.
Oh yeah. I could probably get boyfriend.
Thank you for sharing so much. I was
Boyfriend
just
in the
thank
front,
you
the
for
green
being so
hat.
open.
So until next time, folks, be curious, not judgmental, and keep rewatching. This is Ted Lasso signing off. As the man once said, the harder you work, the luckier you get.